My child, receive this not in fear, but in the stillness of your heart. Do not let your mind run ahead. Do not let the noise around you decide what this word is before your spirit has had time to hear it. There are some truths I do not release to frighten you, but to free you. There are some moments when I draw near, not with thunder, not with force, but with a quiet light that enters the hidden places and shows you what has been shaping your steps. I have already prepared something for you. I have already gone before you in ways you have not seen. I have arranged conversations, opened paths, positioned people, and guarded doors that you thought were delayed, when in truth they were being held until the appointed time. But hear me, with a tender heart. The prepared thing also requires a prepared vessel. The door I have made ready must meet the obedience I have been asking from you. This is not because I am withholding love from you. This is not because I have forgotten your tears, your prayers, or the years you wondered if anything was moving at all. I have seen every quiet surrender. I have heard every whispered question. I know the place where your faith has felt tired. But there is one familiar habit that has been quietly slowing what I have already arranged in the unseen place. It has not always looked like rebellion. It has not always sounded like defiance. It has often sounded reasonable. It has whispered, later. It has said, not yet. It has told you that another day will be better. Another season will be easier. Another feeling will make obedience more comfortable. And because it has been familiar, you have not always recognized it as resistance. My child, I am bringing it into the light, not to shame you, but to prepare you. This is not condemnation. This is not rejection. This is not punishment from my hand. This is mercy before delay becomes loss. This is love, interrupting the pattern before the pattern interrupts the promise. As it is written, those whom I love I correct and discipline. Revelation 3:19. My correction is not the voice of abandonment. My correction is the sound of a father calling his child away from what would quietly drain life, delay purpose, and weaken holy alignment. So be still before me now. Let this word pass beyond your ears and enter the place where you already know I have been speaking. If this message is already touching your spirit, like this video, as a witness that your heart is listening, subscribe for more God-centered messages that call you back to my presence. And before the main message unfolds, write these words in the comments as a first act of surrender. Lord, awaken my obedience. Do not write them lightly. Let them become a small door opening inside you, because I am not exposing this habit to condemn you. I am awakening you for what I have already made ready. My beloved child, the habit I am showing you is not always the kind of rebellion that shouts against me. It is not always a hardened heart lifting its voice and saying, I will not obey. Many times it is quieter than that. Many times it comes dressed in patience, covered in explanation, and hidden beneath words that sound wise to the natural mind. It says, later. It says, when I feel stronger. It says, when I understand everything. It says, when the money is enough, when the fear is gone, when the people approve, when the timing feels easier. But, my child, when I have already spoken, delay is not always wisdom. Sometimes delay is disobedience, wearing the garment of caution. Do you see how gentle it has sounded? It has not come to you with weapons. It has not come with thunder. It has not looked like a storm tearing down your house. It has come like a soft suggestion at the edge of your thoughts. Not now. Wait a little longer. You are not ready yet. Think about it again tomorrow. Pray about it one more time, though you already know what I have said. And because the voice of delay has sounded so reasonable, you have treated it as maturity when it was slowly dulling your spirit. You have called it preparation when, in truth, it was keeping you from the first step of obedience. There are things I placed in your heart that you keep revisiting, but not obeying. There are instructions I have repeated in quiet ways, through scripture, through conviction, through the counsel of those I sent, through the uneasiness that rises whenever you try to move around it. You know the prayer life I have been calling you back into. You know the forgiveness you have postponed because the wound still feels justified. You know the boundary I have been asking you to establish. Even though you fear the reaction that may follow, you know the relationship I have told you to release, not because I delight in your loneliness, but because I see what it is doing to your soul. You know the first step toward purpose that you keep delaying because you want confidence before obedience, when often confidence is born after obedience begins. This is why I am speaking tenderly and plainly. Delayed obedience does not always feel dangerous at first. It can feel harmless. It can feel like you are simply waiting for better circumstances. You may tell yourself that you need more clarity when I have already given enough light for the next step. You may tell yourself that you need more emotional strength when I have promised that my strength is made perfect in weakness. You may tell yourself that you need more resources when I am asking you to trust me with what is already in your hand. My word is a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path. Psalm 119, 105. A lamp does not always show the whole road at once. It gives enough light for the step that must be taken now. My child, every time you postpone what I have clearly placed before you, something within you becomes more accustomed to hesitation. The first delay may feel small, the second feels easier, the third begins to feel normal, and what once troubled your conscience can become familiar if you keep covering it with excuses. This is why it is written, "Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your hearts." Hebrews 3:15. Notice the word today, not someday. Not when every feeling agrees. Not when every question has been answered. Today. Because obedience has a tenderness to it when it is fresh, but delay can cause the heart to grow less sensitive to the voice it once heard clearly. I am not saying this to crush you. I am saying it to awaken you. There is still mercy in this moment. There is still light at the place where you stopped moving. There is still grace for the instruction you delayed. But do not keep calling delay peace when your spirit knows it is avoidance. Do not keep calling fear discernment. Do not keep calling comfort confirmation. If you know the good you ought to do, and you do not do it, my word has already spoken. James 4:17. I am not bringing this scripture to accuse you, but to uncover the exact place where your yes has been waiting. So listen closely within your heart. Where have you been saying later to me? Where have you been asking for another sign because the first act of obedience feels costly? Where have you been circling the same instruction, hoping time will make surrender unnecessary? My beloved, the blessing I prepared is not being delayed because my love is uncertain. It is being slowed by the quiet habit of postponing what I have already told you to do. But today, the whisper of delay can be broken. Today, your heart can answer me without waiting for fear to leave first. Today, obedience can begin again. My child, understand the order of my hand. I do not only prepare what I am bringing to you, I prepare you for what I am bringing. The blessing is not separate from the vessel. The assignment is not separate from the character that must carry it. The door is not separate from the obedience that must walk through it. There are things I have already arranged, but I will not release them into a pattern that would quietly damage what I have prepared. I love you too much to give you something holy, while leaving untouched the habit that would cause you to mishandle it. This is why some delays have not been my unwillingness. They have been my mercy. You have wondered, why has it not happened yet? Why does the door seem near, but not open? Why do I sense something prepared, yet still feel held in place? And I tell you with tenderness, not every waiting season is because heaven has not moved. Sometimes heaven has moved, but your heart is still making room for an old pattern that cannot go with you. Sometimes the promise is ready, but the place within you that must carry it is still being strengthened. Sometimes I am not withholding the blessing from you. I am protecting you from being buried by the weight of what you asked me to release. My beloved, I will not bless what will bury you, and I will not place weight upon a foundation you refuse to strengthen. Hear this, not as rejection, but as love. A foundation is strengthened in hidden places before a house can safely rise. A root grows downward before fruit can remain on the branch. A vessel is shaped before it is filled. If I pour too much too soon into an unhealed pattern, the very thing you prayed for may become a burden you are not yet surrendered enough to carry. This is why I correct. This is why I pause. This is why I return you to the instruction you have tried to step around. Do you see how small obedience shapes large destiny? One apology can become the doorway through which peace returns to a family. One honest confession can break the power of a secret that has been draining your strength. One act of discipline can reorder your days until your mind becomes clear enough to hear me again. One surrendered yes can open a path that years of striving could not force open. You have been looking for the large sign, but I have been pointing to the small step. You have been asking me for the next level, but I have been asking for the next yes. As it is written, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Luke 16:10. Do not despise the instruction because it seems small. Do not ignore the correction because it touches an ordinary part of your life. The ordinary place is often where destiny is being decided. The prayer you keep postponing, the forgiveness you keep delaying, the habit you keep excusing, the boundary you keep avoiding, the discipline you keep beginning and abandoning. These are not small to me when they are connected to your becoming. I see what you cannot see. I see how one hidden compromise can follow you into an open door. I see how one unhealed fear can twist a prepared blessing into pressure. I see how one delayed obedience can become the pattern that repeats itself even after the answer arrives. There is waiting that is holy, and I teach my children to wait upon me. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. But my child, there is also waiting that is not worship, but avoidance. There is waiting that trusts my timing, and there is waiting that delays your surrender. One is patience, the other is postponement. One rests in me after obedience has been given. The other asks me to move while refusing the step I have already made clear. I am bringing light to the difference now, because I do not want you trapped in a season that has already received its instruction. So let your heart become honest before me. If I am asking you to wait, wait with peace. But if I am asking you to obey, do not call your hesitation peace. The prepared thing is real, but so is the preparation of your soul. I am not only bringing you to a blessing, I am making you able to carry it without losing yourself inside it. I am strengthening what has been weak. I am exposing what has been hidden. I am teaching your yes to become immediate again. And as you obey in the small place before you, the pattern that once delayed you will begin to break, and the vessel I have been preparing will be ready for what my hand has already made ready. My child, pay attention to the unease that keeps returning when everything around you grows quiet. Do not dismiss it as random emotion. Do not rush to numb it with noise, with busyness, with another explanation that lets you postpone the same instruction again. There is a restlessness that comes after you ignore what I asked you to do. There is a heaviness that settles when you walk past the one thing I have placed before you. There is a way peace begins to lift when you repeat the excuse that once made you feel safe. This is not confusion sent to torment you. This is my spirit pointing to the exact place where your obedience has been waiting. Do you recognize it? Do you feel how your spirit grows quiet when that one instruction returns? You may be moving through your day, speaking to others, completing tasks, smiling outwardly, and yet within you there is a place that knows something remains unanswered. It may rise when you think about making the call. It may stir when you remember the apology. It may press gently when the boundary comes to mind again. It may trouble you when you reach for the habit I have been asking you to lay down. It may follow you into the night, not as punishment, but as a holy reminder that I am still near enough to speak. My beloved, the Holy Spirit does not reveal the delayed place to shame you. He reveals it to rescue your alignment before your heart becomes comfortable without my peace. Conviction is not condemnation. Condemnation says you are lost, rejected, disqualified, and no longer mine. Conviction says, come back to the path. Condemnation attacks your identity. Conviction restores your direction. Condemnation pushes you into hiding. Conviction invites you into the light. Do you see the difference? I am not telling you that you are no longer loved. I am showing you where love is calling you to obey. There are times when you have asked me for clarity while resisting the clarity I already gave. You have prayed for peace, but peace cannot fully rest over disobedience that you continue to protect. You have asked for confirmation, but the repeated stirring itself has been my mercy. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Notice, my child, they do not merely hear me and admire my voice. They follow. Hearing becomes alignment when obedience answers. The voice that keeps returning is not trying to confuse you. It is guiding you, step by step, back into the light. And I do not demand that you see the entire road before you move. My word is a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path. Psalm 119:105. A lamp shines close enough for the next obedient step. It does not always reveal the whole distance. It does not always explain every outcome before you surrender, but it gives enough light for today. It shows the place where your foot must move next. It exposes the stone you have been circling. It reveals the door you keep standing before while asking me for another door. So listen without fear. Let the unease speak what your excuses have tried to silence. Where does your peace leave you? Where does your heart become heavy? Where do you feel the gentle pressure of my spirit every time you try to move forward without answering what I already placed in front of you? That is not random pressure. That is protective mercy. That is not emotional confusion. That is my love identifying the exact place where freedom must begin. Do not run from the stirring. Do not argue with the light. Do not call it anxiety when it is conviction drawing you home. Bring that one thing before me without covering it, without decorating it, without explaining it away. I am not waiting to condemn you. I am waiting to restore the path beneath your feet. And when your obedience meets my prompting, the heaviness will begin to lift. The light will become clearer, and the place that once felt like pressure will become the doorway into peace. My child, understand what happens when delay is protected too long. What begins as a small hesitation can slowly become a familiar chain. At first, it feels like control. It feels as though you are keeping yourself safe. It feels as though you are choosing the timing, guarding your heart, managing the outcome, and avoiding unnecessary pain. But when comfort, fear, pride, or uncertainty becomes the reason you keep postponing what I have spoken, the thing you call control begins to control you. There are delays that start so quietly you do not recognize their power. You say, I will do it when I am ready. You say, I will obey when the fear leaves. You say, I will surrender when I can explain it to everyone. You say, I will move when I know I will not fail. But my beloved, if you wait for obedience to feel painless, you may wait until disobedience feels normal. If you wait for every person to understand, you may hand your calling to the approval of people who were never assigned to carry it. If you wait until pride is comfortable with surrender, you may remain standing outside a freedom I already opened for you. Do you see how the chain forms? Not all at once, not with a loud sound, not with an obvious prison door closing. It forms through repeated agreement with hesitation. One postponed yes, one ignored prompting, one delayed apology, one avoided boundary, one hidden habit you keep naming as weakness while refusing to bring it fully into the light. Then the soul begins to adjust. Waiting begins to feel normal. Hesitation begins to feel wise. Avoidance begins to feel like peace. And the very place where I called you to move becomes the place where you build a shelter for fear. But I have not called you to live under fear disguised as caution. I have not called you to be ruled by the possibility of failure, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of losing approval, or the fear that obedience will cost too much. Yes, obedience may cost you something. It may cost you an image you were trying to protect. It may cost you a relationship that kept pulling your heart away from me. It may cost you the comfort of being accepted by people who only approve of the version of you that stays delayed. But the cost of obedience is not the same as the bondage of disobedience. One leads you into freedom. The other teaches your heart to live small. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not be entangled again with a yoke of bondage. Galatians 5:1. Hear this, my child. Freedom is not doing whatever feels easiest. Freedom is not obeying every emotion that rises within you. Freedom is not remaining where you are because the familiar place asks less of your courage. True freedom is when fear no longer sits on the throne of your decisions. True freedom is when comfort no longer rules your yes. True freedom is when your heart can hear my voice and follow, even while your feelings are still learning to become still. You have called some things freedom because no one was forcing you to change. But if comfort keeps deciding for you, you are not free. If fear keeps postponing your obedience, you are not free. If the need to be understood keeps your yes locked inside you, you are not free. If pride keeps you from repenting, forgiving, returning, releasing, or beginning again, then the chain is not outside you. It is within the place where surrender has been delayed. And I bring light there, not to shame you, but to break what has become familiar. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. My beloved, leaning on your own understanding has kept you circling the same place. You have tried to calculate every response, every loss, every risk, every possible outcome. but I did not ask you to understand everything before you trust me. I asked you to acknowledge me in all your ways, even in the way that feels uncertain, even in the decision that makes your hands tremble, even in the obedience that requires you to step before the full picture is revealed. So do not protect the chain because it feels familiar. Do not defend hesitation because it has kept you from discomfort. Do not call delay wisdom when my spirit has already named it obedience waiting to happen. I am near to you now, not with anger, but with truth. The small delay does not have to become your lifestyle. The familiar chain does not have to remain around your heart. Bring me the fear, bring me the pride, bring me the need for approval. Bring me the uncertainty you have been hiding behind. As you surrender it, the grip will loosen. As you trust me, the path will straighten. And as you obey, you will begin to feel again the freedom you thought you had lost. My child, when I show you these things in my word, I am not merely teaching you history. I am holding up mirrors of mercy. I am showing you that delayed obedience has always had a voice, and my correction has always had a purpose. I am showing you that when I intervene before the consequence becomes final, it is not because I desire to wound you, but because I desire to turn you before the path you are choosing hardens beneath your feet. Look at Jonah. I gave him an assignment, and he went in the opposite direction. He did not misunderstand. He did not lack instruction. He rose to flee from the presence of the Lord. Jonah 1:3. Do you see it, my beloved? The delay was not only in his feet, it was in his surrender. He chose distance because obedience touched something in him he did not want to yield. And yet the storm that came upon the sea was not sent to destroy him. The great fish that swallowed him was not sent as the end of his story. What looked like trouble became restraint. What looked like judgment became a place of prayer. What looked like being buried became the mercy that kept him from being lost in his own resistance. There are storms in your life that you have only called opposition, but some of them have been my restraining hand. There are interruptions you have only called inconvenience, but some of them have been mercy standing in your way before disobedience could carry you farther. There are closed doors, unsettled nights, and repeated disruptions that have not come to prove that I am against you, but to keep you from settling in the wrong direction. Jonah prayed from the belly of the fish, and I heard him there. Salvation is of the Lord. Jonah 2:9. My child, even the place that exposed his delay became the place where his surrender began again. And look at Moses. I called him by name from the burning bush, and still insecurity spoke loudly. He looked at himself and saw weakness. He looked at his mouth and saw limitation. He looked at Pharaoh and saw danger. He looked at his past and saw reasons to hesitate. Who am I, that I should go? Exodus 3:11. And later he said, I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Exodus 4:10. But my calling was not canceled by his trembling. My purpose was not weakened by his fear. I did not choose Moses because he felt sufficient. I called him because I would be with him. Do you recognize yourself in him? You have said, who am I to begin? Who am I to speak? Who am I to obey in a place that feels too large for me? You have measured my assignment by your confidence, but I have never needed your confidence to be your God. I have asked for your yes. I have asked for your trust. I have asked for your willingness to move while your voice still shakes. Insecurity may speak loudly, but it is not stronger than my calling. Fear may list reasons why you cannot, but my presence answers every reason. Certainly I will be with you. Exodus 3:12. That is the answer I gave Moses, and that is the answer I give you. But hear also the warning of readiness. The kingdom of heaven was likened unto 10 virgins, some wise and some foolish. Matthew 25. They all had lamps. They all had an outward appearance of waiting. They all expected the bridegroom. But when the cry came at midnight, only some had oil prepared. Preparation could not be borrowed at the final moment. Readiness could not be transferred from one vessel to another. The foolish said, give us of your oil, but the wise could not give them what had been cultivated in secret. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. Matthew 25:13. My beloved, this is not spoken to frighten you, but to awaken you. There is an obedience that must be cultivated before the door opens. There is oil formed in hidden surrender, in daily yes, in quiet repentance, in disciplined prayer, in immediate response to my voice. You cannot borrow another person's hidden obedience when your appointed moment arrives. You cannot live from someone else's oil. You cannot step into a prepared blessing with a neglected lamp and assume the flame will remain bright. I am calling you now because I love you enough to prepare you before midnight comes. And look at Samuel, my child. He was young, and at first he did not understand the voice that called him. He ran to Eli, thinking the voice was human. But when he learned how to answer, everything changed. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. 1 Samuel 3:9. That answer was simple, but it opened his life into prophetic alignment. He did not need a long explanation before he yielded his ear. He did not argue with the voice once he knew who was calling. He answered, and his life became a vessel through which my word could be carried. This is the contrast I am placing before you. Jonah ran, and mercy restrained him. Moses feared, and my presence strengthened him. The virgins waited, but only the prepared were ready when the moment came. Samuel answered, and alignment began. Do you see your own story among these mirrors? I am not asking you to admire them from a distance. I am showing you where you have delayed, where you have trembled, where you have neglected preparation, and where I am teaching you again to say, Speak, Lord. My correction often comes before the consequence becomes final. My warning often arrives before the door closes. My light often touches the hidden place before the pattern becomes permanent. This is mercy. This is love. This is a father calling his child back while there is still time to turn, still grace to obey, still oil to gather, still purpose to enter, still a voice to answer. So, do not harden your heart when Scripture finds you. Do not say, this is only Jonah, only Moses, only the virgins, only Samuel. No, my child, this is my word finding you. This is my mercy showing you the path. This is my spirit saying that delay does not have to define you. Fear does not have to rule you. Unreadiness does not have to remain your condition. You can answer me now. You can say, Speak, Lord. You can return from the wrong direction. You can move with trembling faith. You can prepare your lamp again. And as you answer, your life will begin to come back into the alignment I have been calling you toward all along. My child, hear me clearly. Your obedience does not purchase my love. You are not trying to earn a place in my heart. You are not trying to convince me to be kind to you. I loved you before you knew how to answer me. I called you before you knew how to walk steadily. I saw your weakness, your wandering, your hesitation, and still, my mercy reached for you. But obedience aligns you with what my love has already prepared. Obedience does not create my goodness. It positions you to receive it without resisting it. You are not waiting for me to love you more. I have already loved you with an everlasting love. Jeremiah 31:3. You are not waiting for me to become willing. I have already been moving in places you cannot see. You are not waiting for heaven to remember your name. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. What you are sensing now is not my absence, but my invitation. What you are feeling is not rejection, but the pressure of alignment. The blessing is prepared, but the door responds to obedience. There are doors that will not open because you strive harder, worry longer, explain yourself better, or force the timing with your own hands. There are doors that open when one surrendered yes rises from the secret place of your heart. One phone call you have delayed. One release you have resisted. One confession you have feared. One discipline you have postponed. One step into the light where you stop hiding the very thing I have been asking you to surrender. Do not despise the simplicity of the step. Many times, the door is not waiting for a dramatic performance. It is waiting for agreement with my voice. My beloved, I have already arranged more than you understand. Provision has been prepared in places your eyes have not yet seen. Restoration has been moving beneath the surface of relationships you thought were beyond repair. Peace has been waiting on the other side of the surrender you keep delaying. Purpose has been standing near the path you keep circling. Connections, healing, assignment, strength, clarity, and favor have not been forgotten. They are not random gifts floating without order. They are prepared things, and prepared things must meet a prepared yes. Do you see why the last instruction matters? You have asked me for a new word while ignoring the word that is still shining at your feet. You have asked me to speak again, but I am still waiting for you to answer what I already spoke. This is not because I am silent. This is because I am faithful. I will not keep giving you more directions so you can avoid the first one. I will not decorate your delay with endless confirmations while the path of obedience remains untouched. The next level often waits behind the previous yes. The next door often stands beyond the instruction you keep stepping around. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. Isaiah 1:19. Notice, my child, willing and obedient, not merely emotional, not merely impressed, not merely aware. Willing, obedient, a surrendered heart and a surrendered step. I am not calling you into cold duty without love. I am calling you into the kind of obedience that flows from trust, the kind that says, Father, even if my feelings tremble, your word is safer than my fear. Your way is better than my control. Your timing is wiser than my delay. And as it is written, blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it. Luke 11:28. Not only those who hear it, not only those who feel moved by it, not only those who write it down, repeat it, admire it, or agree with it in the hidden place. Blessed are those who hear and keep. Hearing becomes blessing when it becomes obedience. The word becomes a path when your feet begin to follow it. The light becomes direction when you stop standing still before it. So stop asking whether I love you enough to bless you. I have already answered that at the cross. Ask instead, where have I delayed the obedience that would align me with what love has prepared? Where have I demanded an open door while holding closed the place of surrender? Where have I called it waiting when it was avoidance? Bring that place to me now. Give me the yes you have postponed. Let your obedience meet my preparation. And as you move, you will discover that the door was not closed because I was unwilling. It was waiting for your surrendered step. Now bring the habit into the light without excuse. Do not cover it again with reasons that sound spiritual, but leave your obedience untouched. Do not protect it with the language of timing when I have already shown you that fear is sitting beneath it. Do not say, I am waiting for the right moment, if the right moment has become the shelter where disobedience hides. My child, I am not asking you to perform before me. I am asking you to be honest before me. The relationship you keep defending, the discipline you keep postponing, the apology you keep delaying, the calling you keep shrinking from, the boundary you keep avoiding, the surrender you keep negotiating, the daily devotion you keep replacing with distraction. Bring it here. Bring it into my light. For light does not come to humiliate you. Light comes to heal you. Light does not reveal because I delight in exposing your weakness. Light reveals because what remains hidden continues to shape you from within. If we walk in the light, as He is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ, His Son, cleanseth us from all sin. 1 John 1:7. Do you hear the mercy in this? Walking in the light is not walking into rejection. Walking in the light is walking into cleansing. It is walking into fellowship. It is walking into the place where the blood of my Son speaks louder than your delay, louder than your fear, louder than the habit that tried to keep you bound. Nothing brought into my light remains untouched by grace. The moment you stop hiding, the power of the hidden thing begins to weaken. The moment you stop defending it, truth can reach it. The moment you stop renaming it, mercy can deal with it. You have called some things personality that were really protection. You have called some things caution that were really fear. You have called some things discernment that were really avoidance. You have called some things waiting that were really delayed obedience. And I am not saying this to crush you. I am saying this to free you. So let me search the place you have kept guarded. Pray with honesty, not with polished words that avoid the wound. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalm 139, 23-24. This is not the prayer of someone losing their identity. This is the prayer of someone ready to be led again. This is the prayer of a heart that trusts my hands enough to be examined by them. This is the prayer of a child who knows that my searching is not cruel, my searching is surgical, my searching is tender, my searching removes what has been poisoning peace. Ask yourself now, without running, what instruction keeps returning? What step do you keep postponing? What have you renamed as timing when it is actually fear? What conversation have you avoided because pride does not want to bow? What habit have you kept in the dark because you were afraid that naming it would make it stronger? My beloved, naming it before me does not make it stronger. Hiding it does. Defending it does. Feeding it in silence does. But confession breaks agreement with the lie. Confession opens the window. Confession says, Father, I will not protect what is keeping me from your will. And hear me clearly. Confession is not the end of your identity. It is the beginning of movement. You are not less mine because you tell me the truth. You are not disqualified because you admit where you delayed. You are not rejected because you finally say, Lord, I have been afraid. I have been stubborn. I have been avoiding what you asked of me. That honesty does not push me away. It gives your heart room to receive the grace that has been waiting at the door. Come into the light, my child. Come without excuse. Come without the speech you prepared to justify the delay. Come with the simple truth. Here it is, Father. This is the place. This is the instruction. This is the fear. This is the habit. This is the yes I have postponed. And as you bring it to me, you will feel the grip begin to loosen. You will feel shame lose its voice. You will feel clarity return. The habit loses power when you stop hiding it, stop naming it falsely, and stop defending it. In my light, what was concealed can be cleansed. In my light, what was delayed can begin to move. And now, my child, you must understand why obedience may first feel like loss. When you release what has been familiar, your heart may tremble as though something is being taken from you. When you step without applause, without every person understanding, without the comfort of being celebrated for your yes, a quiet loneliness may try to speak. When you choose discipline while your feelings resist, when you rise to pray instead of drifting, when you speak truth instead of hiding, when you walk away from what kept you numb, it may feel for a moment as though you are losing the life you knew. But hear me clearly. I am not asking for surrender to empty you. I am making room for what cannot enter while the old pattern remains enthroned. I am not stripping away joy, but restoring peace. I am not removing your identity, but uncovering it. I am not calling you to obedience because you are weak, but because you are precious. There are things I prepared for you that cannot rest upon the same altar, where fear still rules, where delay still decides, where comfort still commands, and where the familiar chain is still treated as a friend. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Matthew 16:24-25. Do you see the mystery, my beloved? What feels like losing is often the doorway to finding. What feels like surrender is often the beginning of receiving your life back in its true form. You have tried to save a version of life that kept you delayed, kept you divided, kept you leaning on feelings that changed from hour to hour. But I am calling you into a life that is anchored, ordered, cleansed, and free. The first cost may be the approval you depended on. The first cost may be the habit that comforted you while quietly draining you. The first cost may be the excuse that protected you from responsibility. The first cost may be the image you built so no one would see your fear. But my child, every false covering must fall before true covering can be felt. Every throne that does not belong to me must be surrendered before your heart can know the safety of my rule. This is not punishment. This is restoration. This is not me taking pleasure in your discomfort. This is me rescuing your future from the grip of what cannot go with you. And do not despise the smallness of the step. In the eyes of others, your obedience may look simple. A message sent, a boundary kept, an apology spoken, a habit refused, a morning given back to prayer, a hidden compromise brought into the light, a door closed that your flesh wanted open. But in the spirit, that small step may be enormous because it breaks agreement with delay. It declares that fear will not govern you. It declares that comfort will not be your master. It declares that my voice has become more precious to you than the familiar place that kept you still. So if obedience aches at first, do not mistake the ache for harm. Sometimes the soul aches when a chain is being removed. Sometimes peace feels strange when your heart has grown accustomed to unrest. Sometimes freedom feels unfamiliar when bondage has been with you for a long time. But if the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. John 8:36. Not partly free, not outwardly free while inwardly bound. Free indeed. Free in your yes, free in your thoughts, free in your surrender, free to obey without bargaining, free to walk without dragging the old delay behind you. My beloved, the cost of obedience is temporary, but the freedom it opens is part of the blessing I prepared. Do not cling to what feels familiar if it keeps you from what is holy. Do not protect what I am asking you to release. Put it in my hands. Take the step. Choose the yes. And as you obey, you will see that what you thought was lost was the clearing of space for peace, purpose, and life. Now, my child, do not wait for every feeling to become quiet before you obey. Do not wait until courage fills the room before you take the step I have already shown you. Do not wait until your mind can explain every detail, until your heart no longer trembles, until every person approves, until the path feels easy beneath your feet. Revelation must become movement. Light must become walking. The word you have received must become a step, because the breakthrough begins when your obedience rises before your emotions have finished arguing. There are times when peace does not come before the yes. Peace comes after it. There are times when clarity does not come while you stand still, demanding more signs. Clarity comes as you move in the direction I have already made plain. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 119, 105. A lamp does not always show the whole road at once. It gives enough light for the next step. And my beloved, the next step is enough for today. You do not need to conquer the entire future in one moment. You need to stop postponing the one obedient act I have placed before you now. Pray the honest prayer. Send the message you have delayed. Create the boundary you have feared. Close the door that keeps pulling your heart backward. Begin the discipline you keep saying you will begin later. Return to the assignment you abandoned because discouragement spoke louder than my promise. Apologize where pride has held your tongue. Forgive where bitterness has kept your soul in chains. Open the scripture again. Kneel again. Write again. Serve again. Speak again. Walk away again. My child, do not make obedience mysterious when I have made the instruction clear. Your feelings may say, not yet. Your fear may say, wait until you are stronger. Your comfort may say, one more day will not matter. But delay has used that language before. Later has already stolen too much from your peace. Tomorrow has already been used too many times as a hiding place for today's surrender. If you hear my voice today, harden not your heart. Hebrews 3:15. Today, my beloved, not when you feel impressive, not when you feel unafraid, not when every emotion bows willingly. Today, while grace is calling. Today, while my spirit is stirring. Today, while the door of obedience is open before you. And I am not asking you to move without me. I am asking you to move with me. I go before you, and I am also with you in the step. You may feel your hand shaking when you send the message. You may feel tears rise when you close the door. You may feel loneliness when you set the boundary. You may feel resistance when you begin the discipline. But trembling obedience is still obedience. A shaking yes is still a yes. A small step taken in faith is still powerful in the spirit, because it breaks agreement with delay and announces that my voice is now the authority over your life. Within the next 24 hours, answer the place I have been highlighting. Do not turn this message into another moment of emotion that fades without movement. Ask me plainly, Father, what is the first step? And when I show you, do it. Not everything, but the first thing. Not the entire mountain, but the stone in front of your feet. Not the whole assignment completed, but the page opened, the call made, the prayer prayed, the habit refused, the door closed, the altar rebuilt. Let the next 24 hours bear witness that you heard me and did not delay. If you are ready to take that first step today, say it with your own mouth and write it as a declaration. I will obey without delay. Let those words become more than a comment. Let them become a covenant of surrender in your heart. And share this message with someone who has been waiting too long to answer me, not to pressure them, but to help awaken what I have already been stirring inside them. There are others standing at the edge of their yes, and your obedience may become a light that helps them move. My beloved, emotion often follows obedience. Peace often meets you on the road after you begin walking. Strength often rises after your foot leaves the place of hesitation. So take the step. Do it with tears if you must. Do it quietly if no one understands. Do it without applause. Do it before the feeling catches up, for I am with you in the yes, and as you move, you will discover that the grace you were waiting to feel was already waiting on the path of obedience. And when you stop delaying, my child, you will begin to see that your obedience was never only about you. Yes, I am healing your heart. Yes, I am aligning your steps. Yes, I am bringing you into the blessing I prepared before you could understand it. but the blessing upon your life is connected to a purpose beyond your private relief. There are people assigned to be touched by the light I placed within you. There are hearts that will be strengthened because you finally obey. There are lives that will hear hope through the testimony you almost allowed delay to silence. Do you see why I have been calling you with such tender urgency? The instruction I gave you is not small in the spirit. The step you keep postponing may look simple in the natural, but it is connected to encouragement someone else needs, healing someone else is waiting to see, provision that must move through your surrendered hands, wisdom that must come through your voice, and testimony that will prove my faithfulness to another weary soul. When you delay, it does not only keep you standing still, it can also hold back the light that was meant to pass through your obedience into someone else's darkness. This is not condemnation, my beloved. This is awakening. I am not placing a burden on you to make you afraid. I am showing you the value of your yes. You have thought your obedience was only a private matter between you and me, and in one sense it is sacred and personal. But the fruit of obedience is never meant to remain locked inside one life. A surrendered life becomes bread for others. A healed heart becomes a witness. A restored voice becomes a trumpet. A person who returns from delay becomes proof that I still redeem time, restore purpose, and use vessels that once trembled before the call. You are not ordinary in the way fear has told you. You are not forgotten in the way delay has made you feel. You are not disqualified because your yes was late. My mercy can use even the season you delayed as testimony when you return fully to me. I can take the place where you hesitated and turn it into wisdom for someone who is hesitating now. I can take the tears you cried in secret and make them compassion for another wounded heart. I can take the years you thought were wasted and cause them to speak of my patience, my correction, my pursuit, and my power to restore. As it is written, ye are the light of the world, a city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:14-16. My child, I did not light you so fear could cover you. I did not awaken you so postponement could hide you. I did not place my spirit within you, so your life would remain buried beneath hesitation, shame, and the quiet agreement with later. Your light is not pride. Your obedience is not performance. Your influence is not about being seen for your own name. True light always points back to me. When you obey, others do not merely see your strength. They see my grace holding you. They see my mercy restoring you. They see that a trembling person can still walk in faith. They see that a delayed person can still be awakened. They see that the hand of the Father does not discard the child who returns, but cleanses, strengthens, and sends that child with purpose. So rise from the place where delay kept you hidden. Let your yes become visible in your choices. Let your surrender become light in your home, in your work, in your family, in your words, in your serving, in your discipline, in your peace. Someone is watching who needs to know that obedience is possible. Someone is listening who needs to hear that freedom is real. Someone is waiting for the encouragement that will come when you stop burying what I placed within you. My beloved, the prepared blessing is connected to a prepared purpose. I am not only bringing something to you, I am preparing to move through you. And as you obey without delay, your life will begin to shine in places you did not expect, not because you forced influence, but because surrender always carries light. So now, my beloved, pray with me from the quiet place of your heart. Do not pray as one who is condemned. Pray as one who is being called back into alignment. Do not come with your face hidden in shame, as though I have uncovered you to reject you. Come as a child whose father has reached for them before the consequence became final. Come as one who understands that correction is love, that truth is mercy, and that my voice has not come to crush you, but to awaken the yes that delay tried to bury. Father, I come before you now with an open heart. I bring you the place where I have delayed. I bring you the instruction I have postponed, the fear I have protected, the excuses I have repeated, and the habit of saying later when you were speaking now. I confess that there have been times when I heard your voice and still waited. There have been times when I called hesitation wisdom, when I called avoidance timing, when I called fear discernment. When I asked for another sign, because I did not want to obey the sign you had already given, I do not hide it from you anymore. I bring it into your light. Lord, forgive me for every place where I made comfort louder than obedience. Forgive me for every time I allowed fear to govern my step, confusion to cover my yes, numbness to silence my response, and procrastination to steal the movement you were calling me into. Forgive me for treating your patience as permission to remain unchanged. Forgive me for hearing your word and admiring it, but not keeping it. Wash me, lead me, restore me, and teach my heart to answer you quickly. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. Today, I release agreement with delay. I release agreement with procrastination. I release agreement with fear. I release the spiritual numbness that made me slow to respond. I release the confusion that I used as a covering when the instruction was already clear. I release familiar chains, familiar excuses, familiar patterns, familiar comfort, and familiar silence. In the name of Jesus, I break the inward agreement that says, later is safe. Later is not my hiding place anymore. Fear is not my counselor anymore. Comfort is not my master anymore. My emotions will not sit on the throne that belongs to you. My child, let these words rise from within you, not as empty sound, but as surrender. I receive correction as love. I break agreement with delay. I step into obedience. What God prepared for me will not be missed through my hesitation. Say it again until your heart hears it. I receive correction as love. I break agreement with delay. I step into obedience. What God prepared for me will not be missed through my hesitation. For this is not merely a sentence. This is a turning. This is the sound of a heart leaving the old pattern and agreeing with heaven. Father, give me courage for the next instruction. Not courage for 1,000 imagined battles, but courage for the step that is in front of me. Give me wisdom to recognize your voice when you speak in the stillness, when you stir my conscience, when you close what I wanted open, when you open what I feared to enter. Give me strength to move before my emotions feel ready. Give me grace to obey while my hands tremble, while my mind still has questions, while my comfort resists, while the familiar path calls my name. Let my spirit become more responsive than my fear. Let my yes become quicker than my excuses. As it is written, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Lord, make me one who hears and follows, not one who only hears and delays, not one who only hears and debates, not one who only hears and waits for a more convenient season. Make me sensitive again, make me awake again, make me willing again. Let obedience become my worship. Let surrender become my freedom. Let the first step open the path, and let the path lead me into what you have already prepared. And now I speak over you, my beloved child. The season of hiding behind later is breaking. The grip of delay is loosening. The fog that covered your next step is lifting. The fear that called itself wisdom is being exposed. The chain that felt familiar is losing its power. You will obey with a cleaner heart. You will move with a steadier spirit. You will not be ruled by the old hesitation. You will not keep circling the same instruction. You will answer me. You will rise. You will walk in the light I have given you. What I prepared for you is not beyond my reach. What I assigned to you is not canceled by the fact that you delayed. Return fully. Obey now. Let your surrendered yes meet my prepared blessing. Let your first step become the doorway into a new rhythm of faithfulness. You are not forgotten. You are not rejected. You are being awakened, corrected, cleansed, and sent. Your new season begins with a surrendered yes, and that yes begins today. If you need strength to obey what I have been showing you, leave your prayer request in the comments and let others stand with you in faith. If this word has reached the place where you have been delaying, comment, "My yes begins today." Like this video as an agreement with the word, subscribe for more messages of correction, comfort, and breakthrough, and share it with someone who needs courage to stop delaying. For there are many standing at the edge of obedience, and this may be the message that helps them step into the light.